We will now call our meeting to order. We will have the invocation by Reverend Ted Stackpole, pastor of First Assembly of God, and that will be followed by the pledge. We'll ask Commissioner-elect Kitchens, former Commissioner-elect Kitchens, to lead us in the pledge. We ask everyone to stand at this time.
Bow your heads with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you today for everyone that you brought into this place. I thank you today for the leadership that represents this city. Thank you today for the opportunities that make this city great. And I pray for our mayor and for the various levels of city officials, and in particular, this assembled commission. And I'm asking you that you would give our leaders the wisdom to make right decisions that will benefit our city in the years to come. Give them a sense of the welfare, the true needs of our people. Give them a confidence in what is good and fitting. Give them the ability to work together in harmony. Give them personal peace in their lives and joy in their tasks. And I pray for the agenda set before them today. Please give an assurance of what would please you and would benefit those who live and work in and around our beloved city of Palatka. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray this. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we'll have approval of minutes from our January 5th, 2015 meeting.
Roll call.
I'm sorry, roll call, please.
Mayor Hill,
Here.
Vice Mayor Brown, Commissioner Borum,
Present.
Commissioner Campbell,
Present.
Commissioner Norwood.
Present.
All members are present and accounted for.
We'll now move on to approval of minutes. January 5th, 2015 meeting, the January 22nd, 2015 meeting, and the workshop on January 25th, 2015, and then the call meeting on September 5th, 2015.
Mayor, I have not yet distributed the January 5th minutes, so if you just want to table that and approve the rest, that would be great.
I move we approve the January 22nd, January 25th, and February 5th meetings.
Motion and second on the floor. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Vote 5-0. We're now moving to our public recognition and presentations. There's a proclamation for Black History Month.
I'm sorry, I gotta go grab it from my.
Is it?
Is it here?
Is it?
Oh, okay, there it is, but I don't,
You got to get the.
I got to go get the regular proclamation.
Whereas Dr. Carter G. Woodson, founder of the Association of the Study of Negro Life and History, initiated Negro History Week in 1926, which grew and blossomed into Black History Month during the 1970s. Whereas Black History Month is so designated to recognize, honor, and record the historical contributions and achievements made by blacks in the armed forces, architecture, arts, business, civil rights, economics, education, entertainment, exploration, history, law, literature, medicine, music, politics, science, and sports. And whereas February is nationally designated as Black History Month and is annually set aside for all Americans to focus on the significant role African Americans have played in our country's history and in shaping our nation and culture. And whereas the Palatka City Commission wishes to maintain and promote harmonious intercultural relations and highlight the rich ethnic and cultural diversity throughout the city of Palatka and Putnam County. Whereas the Palatka City Commission recognizes the historical aspect of presence and contributions of blacks to the growth of our society, and to recognize the contributions of blacks to the history of Palatka and humankind. Now, therefore, I, Terrell Hill, Mayor of the City of Palatka, together with the members of the Palatka City Commission, do hereby endorse and proclaim the month of February 2015 as Black History Month in the City of Palatka. And I urge all citizens to join the Palatka City Commission in celebrating February as Black History Month each year, and to share in the spirit of the month and take part in related activities that reflect the goals of Black History Month. And witness whereof I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the city to be of Palatka to be affixed on this 12th day of February in the year of our Lord 2015. Commissioners Mary Lawson Brown, Rufus Borum, Justin Campbell, James Norwood Jr. We'd ask Mayor Carl Flagg, former Mayor Carl Flagg, to come forward at this time, along with Ms. Felicia Nelson, who is on the steering committee for the NAACP. We want to present this to Ms. Nelson. Please come forward, Ms. Nelson. We're going to present this proclamation to you for Black History Month. And we definitely thank you for your efforts in organizing the NAACP. Thank you very much. Moving forward with our Black History recognitions, we have a recognition of a very special hero, one of our own Black history pioneers here in Putnam County, and we'll ask Commissioner Norwood to please make the presentation.
We're going to ask Mr. Johnny Dan Smith, as well as his daughter Angelina Bales, and his sister, her sister, to please come, and along with their pastor as well, as we honor this great person. Remembering the life and legacy of our beloved Dorothea Smith. Dorothea Elizabeth Harding Smith, a native and lifelong resident of Palatka, was born on Sunday, September 3rd, 1939. At the age of 9, Dorothea was converted and baptized at Mount Tabor First Baptist Church, and she served her Lord and Savior Jesus Christ faithfully as a lifelong member of Mount Tabor Baptist Church. Over the years, Sister Smith, as she was affectionately called, served in countless ministries at her beloved Mount Tabor, presently serving as the church administrator. Her calling reached out and touched all generations and ministries of the church, especially as stewardship director, women's ministry past president, women's choir, senior ministry, church school, and youth Bible study teacher. She was a practical missionary who helped anyone she could, from the least fortunate to the wealthiest, and was a devoted prayer warrior. She was educated in the Putnam County School Districts and was an honor graduate of Central Academy High School, class of 1956. Subsequently, she earned a Bachelor of Science degree in elementary education from Bethune-Cookman College, now Bethune-Cookman University, in 1960. Master's of Arts degree in elementary education from Columbia University, Teachers College, New York, 1965, and certification in administration and supervision from University of North Florida. On April 24, 1965, she was united in holy matrimony to Johnny D. Smith, Jr. Ms. Smith was a classroom teacher for 19 years at James A. Long and Mellon Elementary School, and director of elementary education in Putnam County Schools for 15 years. She retired after 34 years of dedicated service in education. She served 2 terms as the Putnam County District School Board member, serving 2 consecutive years as board chairman, and was the African American female to serve. She was affiliated with numerous organizations, including Chi Delta Omega Chapter, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Palm Coast. Charter member, St. John's Putnam Flagler County Chapters of Charmettes Incorporated. Charter member 1979. Past National Vice President Chaplain, local chapter, immediately past Vice President, Pilots Club of Palatka, Board of Directors. Women's Educational, Social, Civic, and Arts Club, Western, Palatka Bethune-Cookman College, Booster, Bethune-Cookman College Alumni Association, African American Culture Arts Council, past president, Florida School Board Association, Certified Board Member Distinction, National Education Association, National Reading Association, NAACP, Associate Trustee, Bethune-Cookman College, Putnam County Teachers Credit Union, former Board of Directors, Southern Association of College and Schools, McKnight Achievers Foundation, Historic Planning Board of Putnam County, Arts Council of Palatka, Empowerment Zone Committee, Library Organization, former Board of Directors. She also provided consulting services, cultural and diversity workshops, emphasis African American culture, Weddings Unlimited, public speaking, and Notary Republic. State of Florida at large, Ms. Smith also served as the first sub-register of vital statistics of Carl and Flag Serenity Memorial Chapel. I like to say she was a very unique and one of the pillars of this community, and her legacy will live forever. Thank you.
At this time, we invite the members of the family to, if you want to say something at this time, will someone please respond?
Good evening. On behalf of my family, we would like to say thank you for this outstanding honor. On behalf of my mother, she was an advocate for education, and we will see that her legacy continues. So again, we say thank you.
For those of you who missed the opportunity to spend a day with a legend like Dorothea Smith, Miss Dorothea Smith, you missed a very cherished moment. Oftentimes I remember her eloquence when she spoke in the community, her commitment to this community, to the youth of this community, to her church. And everything that she did with the greatest ability possible. And we want to make sure that her legacy lives on. So if you can, please give me another round of applause for a great woman. We want you to join us back in 2 weeks. We will recognize another drum major and another trailblazer, former Commissioner Sam Taylor, the late Sam Taylor, and also our very own Askew Vickers. And we will do that at our next commission meeting. We have some special guests today that we want to recognize as well. Boys to Men's Mentoring Group. It's a young men's group out of Crescent City. We'll ask them to come forward along with their sponsors at this time, and they'll be joined by Commissioner Campbell.
While they are coming up, I'd like to say that we all know that our children are our future, and we have to do everything that we absolutely can to make sure that they're getting the nurture that they need, the nourishment, that they need in order to be productive citizens. These individuals that you see standing before you today not only have a vested interest in this Putnam County, but in the city of Palatka. They actually took part in the restoration of the Fred Green Park. They were one of the major organizations that helped us out just another day in the park. So I would like to recognize these individuals as our future. This is our future, not only for Putnam County, but leaders in Florida and the United States of America. Right here we have Mr. Watson, who is going to talk, along with some of the staff of Boys to Men, and we will be doing absolutely everything that we can to reach out to other individuals here, more specifically the men of our young boys of the city of Palatka, to try to give them direction along the way. Mr. Watson.
Good evening. On behalf of the entire organization of Boys to Men, all of our officers and friends and families and supporters, we appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. Coming to Palatka really for us is like coming home. I mean, we've sort of had a partnership with Palatka now for at least at least a couple of years. We first came up, the previous mayor invited us up to give a briefing to the boys on on how city government works. And they brought in heads of all the different departments, and that was our first orientation. And then our second was, which we're really proud of, some of you guys may have seen in the paper back during City Government Day. We were invited to come up, and we had an election in Crescent City, and they elected the mayor and commissioners and department heads, and they came up and there was a mock city government meeting at one of their regular commission meetings, and we're really proud of them for that. Then, of course, as Commissioner Campbell indicated, we had the opportunity to work with the city and the mayor and in conjunction with Lowe's to help with that part. Since that time, we were very honored to have been asked to serve as hosts and ushers at the inauguration. And the boys really got a kick out of that, particularly having a chance to go to Golden Corral afterwards, which we'll also be treating them to tonight. Since that time, we've visited with the mayor and commissioners about expanding what we're doing into the area. And I'll tell you, it's in our heart. I mean, we're here already. And we know for sure that there's a major opportunity and a need to develop some programming and things for young guys to do, especially. And when we started 4 years ago. It was a bunch of guys who got together and made a decision to commit our time and our talent and our resources to make a difference in the lives of young men. And there's two things we realized right away. The first was that it takes some planning and organization to do this. The second was that these guys needed help right away. So we started meeting once a week at the high school, at a partnership there, and a big part of what we do is community service. On Monday, there's going to be a meeting at the Price American Center at 6, where for those of you interested, we'd invite you to come out, and we'll be talking more about the programs that we're doing, looking for opportunities, and people would like to be involved. We're looking for help, and we're looking for a core team of people to come and work with us and want to make a difference as well. We thank you, Commissioner, we thank you, Mayor, and the entire commission for the opportunity to be here tonight. And we look forward to coming back again and having a long partnership with the city.
Yes, sir. We thank you. And on behalf of the city, we thank each one of you young men for your commitment and dedication and your commitment to being a great citizen of this county and working for our community. Thank you again. Job well done.
Gentlemen, say thank you to the city of Palatka.
Thank you.
All right, let's go eat.
Wait just a minute, y'all get a little closer, I would like to have a picture.
And while they're taking that picture, I just want you guys to understand that this group of young men, they committed to a one-year project in Crescent City called the Nehemiah Project, where they went out and they built walls and they rebuilt a park and they did things in the community. They became certified. And for those who are familiar with them, they are a special group. These are some young men that are very engaging. Our day at the park wasn't typically with young kids. You don't get children who come in and engage you in conversation. They received responses from all over, from people who came in as they hosted the inauguration. But they are just an awesome group of young men, and we look forward to having that same spirit come to this city. And so we thank them again for everything they've done. It's time to eat.
Wait. No.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Jim, come get him.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We will now open the floor for public comment. We have a speaker card from Ms. Angela Murtaugh, the Azalea Beauty Pageant.
Hello, everyone. Angela Murta, 726 St. John's Avenue. I'm downtown Palatka's vice president, and I'm also chairperson for the Florida Azalea Beauty Pageant. The beauty pageant will be the 21st of this month at Ravine Gardens. We'd like to invite everyone to come and to participate. This year we have 25 contestants from the age of baby to age 35. We're hoping that next year and the following years that we will get older participants from age 16 and up to 35. This year we only have about 5 in that age group. They are beautiful young women, they're talented, but they could use some competition. So again, this is at the Ravine Gardens on the 21st. And we're looking forward to everyone showing up and participating. There will be refreshments sold. There will be live entertainment. In fact, Mr. Campbell is one of our entertainers. If you have not heard him sing, this will be a great opportunity. Door entry fees will be $5 to get in, and programs will be $7. And again, there will be refreshments. And our mayor will be opening the pageant this year. We have several live entertainment for the first time. The azaleas are blooming at the Ravine, and the room will be well decorated. So we'd just like to encourage everyone to show up, and we're looking for a lot more participation from the community next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any more public comments?
Is this the right time?
Yes.
Just give us your name and address, please, sir.
I'm Neil Letts. I live at 160 Little Orange Lake Drive in Hawthorne. My passion is solid waste management and landfill and et cetera. You all have a sheet which shows my interest. What I am proposing is a $1.25 million reduction immediately to the city and county in our landfill solid waste management program. The county collects and buries 175 tons a day of solid waste, and I'll ask you, what percentage gets recycled? How many tons a week? County recycles 20 tons or 4 tons a day of this 120 tons a week, and we put in 175 tons of waste into the landfill. So I propose that the city of Palatka, considering, and everybody will have a fit about this probably, but I see no reason why you couldn't instruct the county to stop sending those puny little solid waste trucks around every week, and the Waste Pro collects $1,000 a ton for us to dispose of our mixed solid waste, where there are six plastic categories that can be sorted and 4 paper categories that can be sorted. They shouldn't be mixed together in a stew in an open air blue box that gets rained on. Half the time it gets thrown in the landfill anyway. So that's I hope I would be happy to talk to anybody in the commission or anybody else about this anytime. My telephone number's on the middle sheet. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Less. Thank you for being here, sir. Is there any more public comment? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. We'll move to the consent agenda, items number 3A through D. Item A, adopt a resolution number 2015-11-08, amending fiscal year 2014 through 15 budget through 12/31/2014. Item B, adopt resolution 2015-11-09, authorizing the city manager and clerk to execute and attest Porcelon LLC Trident Pontoons change order number 4 for an amount not to exceed $20,443. Item C, to adopt a resolution number 2015-11-10, accepting a proposal for trade-in of the current fleet of 54 golf carts towards the purchase of 54 new Easy Go golf carts, and authorizing execution of all documents associated with the 54-month lease agreement with PNC Equipment Financing to effectuate the transaction. D, adopt resolution number 2015-11-11, declaring vehicles, storage buildings, bicycles, radios, and miscellaneous equipment to be surplus property and directing the city manager to dispose of said surplus property in accordance with city administrative procedures. Are there any items on the consent agenda that need to be pulled?
3C.
3C. There's a request to pull item 3C. Are there any others?
Move to approve item A, B, and D.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made in second. We'll call it. Any discussion?
Yes.
Question.
Question's been called. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries by unanimous vote. Moving to item 3C on the consent agenda, adopt resolution number 2015-11-10, which is the golf carts.
You said the golf cart, the Easy Go?
Yeah. That's the item you want to pull, correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Can someone please come up and speak to that issue? Do you want to speak?
I can speak to it, or Mr.
Or Mr.
Reynolds, both of us
Mr.
can. We don't know what the question is.
Well, I just have a problem with the $225,000 that's gonna be committed to golf carts. We're already having issues right now from the golf course being a self-sustaining entity. And I'm not comfortable with moving forward with the golf carts from another $225,000 over the next 4 years, 5 years, 4 years. I read the information, what have you, so I'm looking at how we not looked at the one stop, maybe looking at those guys to see what they can do to help extend the life of the golf carts. And also there were some concerns around batteries and the cost of the batteries. We can also maybe look at Bohannon Battery. They're pretty, they're experts at these things, and a lot of times, you know, we just need to look from a creative standpoint of looking at just not renewing just to renew, but have we considered those alternatives at least?
Well, the management firm, Matt Reynolds, finance director, by the way, the management firm brought this to city staff about a month and a half ago or so. We raised some questions with the management firm, did a little bit of research on that, and they were basically the proposers of renewing this lease. They said the current fleet of carts, it's not just the batteries they're having problems with, it's basically the conditions of the carts in general. They tend to deteriorate after about 48 months to 54 months. They said golf carts are, that's basically how they're designed for a certain lifespan without needing quite a bit of capital investment. We can certainly research some other options if that's the pleasure of the commission. But I tried to include all of the information that the management firm did put together in order to bring this proposal forward.
Did they do a cost analysis of what it would cost for maintenance on the golf carts over the next 4 years?
I did not see a cost analysis like that.
Because I like to see, you know, from a maintenance standpoint, how often does these things break down? I know you want to carry those carts 2 rounds for the most part, and what I saw, and there were 6 that had issues, and you got 48 others that should be operational, what have you. So, in my understanding, I don't know if golf rounds are up or down, but I think we really need to not just move into other agreements without trying to extend life, I mean, on the golf cart. Especially, I don't think all of them are to the, in a deplorable condition to where they all just need to be traded in and 54 for 54. So, that's just my.
And Mr. Reynolds, can you clarify, I know I saw it in the report, it looks as though the amount of the golf carts for this particular lease is less than the existing lease that we have at this point.
The amount for these carts is not less than the current lease. What it is less than what was budgeted for. The management firm, when they proposed this fiscal year's budget, they were anticipating a new lease of golf carts because this lease expires in May or June. And what they were anticipating for an increase in cost, this lease is coming in under that. So there is several $1,000s worth of savings in the budget. However, the actual cost is not lower than the current lease.
But my question is, did you say the current lease expires in May or June? And at the expiration, what are the options for of the city at that point?
To purchase those carts for, I believe, 52,000 or so.
And then we're purchasing carts that are 4 years old? How old?
50, well, they'll be 54 months old, 55 months old.
And they're as-is condition, so then all the maintenance, everything else is ours to bear.
Correct.
So basically, if you don't do something now, then in 3 or 4 months, you're forced to do something. Either pay 55 grand to buy 54-month-old carts that may or may not be in good condition.
As well as the capital investment they would need in order for the batteries and to correct the brakes. And they had said that steering on several of the carts had become loose and that.
I would like to see the maintenance. I would like to see the maintenance and around the carts and some kind of statistical information around if they're breaking down that much. I mean, they should have some information along those lines. Like you got a maintenance crew.
They do have, I believe, one position that he does maintenance, but he also does mowing and other course maintenance. They're very limited on staffing as well.
They're still under contract. I mean, lease agreement, right?
Right now, they're still under the lease agreement, correct? But that does expire in several months, and we have to make that.
Right, and they're covered from bumper to bumper for the most part, with the exception of the batteries.
That I don't know. Andy's not here. He would have more info on it. I don't believe they're covered bumper to bumper. Major issues, major failures with carts, they are covered, but normal wear and tear, brakes, batteries, it is not.
Well, I don't want to get on a long discussion about it. I'd just like to see a little bit more details around it.
It sounds like you're asking for a motion to table with directives to the commission,
Yes.
with directives to staff to bring back some cost analysis and the current status of where we are from a health perspective with the golf carts. Is that your motion?
Yes.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Motion made and properly seconded. Any discussion?
Can we ask that do we have to buy that many at one time? Is it cheaper for us to, an answer to that when you come back? Because if all of them aren't bad, I mean, some of them should be able to be still used. Do we have to get more?
But I don't think you can,
You just
if
have
the
to
new
buy
lease
it.
is the same as the old lease, you don't have the option of keeping some and giving some back. You gotta either buy them all or not. At least that's the way the contract says.
Okay.
Correct.
You either gotta buy, in other words, the ones that are expiring off the lease, you either have to buy them all or give them all back. And then if you give them all back, you either lease new ones or whatever.
Any other discussion?
Take that into consideration.
Yes.
Question. Question's been called. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Borum,
Yes.
Commissioner Campbell,
Yes.
Commissioner Norwood,
Yes.
Mayor Hill.
Yes. Motion carries vote 5-0. We'll table this. Moving on to number 4, CRA Business Resolution 2015-11-12, adopting proposed CRA South Tiff District Residential Rehabilitation Grant Program. And this was tabled previously at the CRA meeting. Is there a motion to table it this time? Well, we don't need action on it. It's already been tabled, so we'll move forward.
No, we gotta
Do we need
address
action?
it. We gotta
Right,
address
you
it.
tabled it at the CRA meeting, but I think you have to
Alright.
table it now too.
So is there a motion?
Motion to table.
Second.
Motion been made and properly seconded. We'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Moving forward, number 5, budget summary report, fiscal year 2014 through 15 through December 31st, 2014, first quarter. Mr. Reynolds.
Matt Reynolds, Finance Director. I prepared a budget summary report for the commission to kind of review the first quarter of this fiscal year, taking a look at budget versus actual of the revenue and expenditures of all of the funds of the city. I tried to add as much detail as I could into my written report, so I really won't go into detail. However, the one concern that I saw while looking at these that I'd like to bring the commission's attention to is the water sales revenue line. It was approximately 2.5% below budget through the first quarter. When I looked kind of more in depth at it, the sales in October and December were both approximately $25,000 lower than anticipated. Did some more digging, looked at the consumption reports for those months, and both of those months the water consumption was down approximately 6 to 8 million gallons over what it normally is. And I looked more into depth into individual accounts and tried to look at trends to see if something stood out, and it just appears that a significant portion of the city's water users, whether it be irrigation meters or normal meters, water usage is just down across the board. So,
Well, it is a dormant time of the year, and, so water use is going to be down overall just because of
well,
dormancy.
Commissioner, I tried to take that into account and looked at prior years for the same months, October and December, back to 2013, 2012, 2011, and water revenues really don't vary to that level that they did this year, which is why it concerned me as much as it did. So, City Manager.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, this is very, very disconcerting. So, Mr. Reynolds brought this to my attention about a week ago. We're analyzing the last 5 or 6 years on pump versus build, and we're seeing a lot of trends which are very disturbing. So we're obviously doing everything we can to try to identify water loss in all the areas in which the city obviously isn't getting reimbursed for the amount of water that we're pumping and treating. So we're going to try to get to the bottom of it. We're doing a water audit. Florida Rural Water Association has computer models and some other technology to determine where's that water loss. But I think the commission recalls, or some of them that were sitting up here, we presented some serious issues with the utility fund. There's a very low fund balance of a couple $100,000 of a multi-million-dollar fund. So either if revenue doesn't meet expectations or expenditures exceed, we have no additional resources to even pay our bills. And as you know, we have to have a substantial amount of fund balance in those accounts for unexpected emergencies, repair and maintenance, just to pump quality water and treat quality water. So this is a very serious situation in which we will coming back probably soon to the City Commission and revisit what our findings are, what our alternatives are. And as again, just for recollection, we proposed a significant rate increase last year to the City Commission, and we had some serious discussions about the necessity, and that may need the possibility of an emergency rate increase. And that's not desired, it's not anything that we're looking forward to proposing, but that could be the reality. So we are looking at it, trying to identify the problems, identify options, but that is a very serious situation. So we will do everything we can to try to understand the magnitude of the problem and present alternatives. and we can answer any questions that we have.
And again, I encourage you to not use the rate increase as the only methodology employed to try to generate revenue. We've got to look at creating streams of efficiency within the community, within the city itself, because there are a lot of places that we commit waste that we need to go back and look at some restructuring to try to get certain things done. I just don't think that continually raising the water bill by 10% has to be the only option that we have in place. When we look at some of the expenditures that have been proposed before us, we've got to raise the level of consciousness in how we're spending dollars as well. And so
Understood.
those are the things that we have to look at. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was the health of the golf fund. And it looks like our revenues are coming in significantly low. Can you kind of expound on that?
I have not dug into the golf course revenues. They are trending under budget, as well as expenditures are trending over budget. That is also another area that we need to take a look at as well. I just haven't had a chance to look at that with the work that I've been doing on water revenues. Mr. Seymour?
Well, just on that, Mr. Mayor, again, the biggest time that of the golf, or the most productive rounds play is, January, February, March, April, May. That's the significant time, so that's the trends we need to track. Obviously, the condition of the course, I'm not sure if the commissioner's been out there, is probably in the best condition that's been in many, many years, as well as the proposed regrassing of the front 9 fairways, which will be, this summer. So, I mean, the course and obviously with the grant and the improvements, the actual physical infrastructure and asset that we have is probably in the best condition. Our challenge, obviously, to Mr. Weed, who's the management company, is to drive traffic, rounds, and, commerce at that facility. So I know he's trying to do that, and I have daily conversations about the need to make that, as well as any enterprise fund, self-supporting.
Mayor, also the golf committees out there, the men and women have said they were doing things to try to boost our revenues out there. Has some of those things, have they been doing some of those tournaments or whatever it is? Have they worked, or is that just?
The PMGA, which is the Palatka Men's Golf Association, has donated money to the golf course to do several different types of projects. And pretty much every weekend for, I don't know how many months straight, they have fundraising tournaments on the weekends that benefit nonprofit entities or other entities, as well as they benefit the golf course by bringing in additional golfers for those tournaments. So, and like I said, the golf course is pretty much booked throughout the golf season. As Mr. Seymour said, I think Andy mentioned in the staff meeting that he's booked through March or April, every weekend. So those entities do help bring in additional revenues to the golf course.
And how soon before the restaurant will be up and running?
I do not have any information on how the project is going so far.
Could you kind of let us know next meeting?
We're guesstimating the spring of 2015. So we're hoping for April, maybe right, April-ish.
I guess my question would be, how long has the current management group been at the golf course? I should know that information, but I don't.
5 years.
5 years, right?
Last year you authorized a 2-year renewal, yes, sir.
Can we go back and look at the trends for the first quarter for the last 5 years to see what those trends will tell us?
And that's what I kind of alluded to earlier. I haven't had a chance to seasonally adjust these 3 months of revenues and compare them to prior year's revenues. Other things that come into play are increased rounds of golf that every year we've been seeing a trend upwards, but I haven't had a chance to take a look at that yet. But that is the plan, is to take a look at those to make sure that we're not regressing
Bring that up, I'd like to get that information for the next meeting.
And can we look at those, not only for the golf course, but for the utility fund and some of the other funds that we have in the airport funds as well? And just see where we are.
And can we also, and let me ask one other question, because I'd like to go ahead and get it in my packet if I can. Can we ask for graphs so that we can actually see what those, so the commission.
He said
as
for
a-
trends, he wanted the trends.
I know, but I'm saying graphs would
You
be
want a visual
trends.
aid.
That's right, so that we can actually see what those trends look
Okay,
like.
I'll graph the revenues and the expenditures for 5 prior years.
5 years.
So that you can see a trend.
All right, thank you, sir.
How many of your water meters are self-reading, for lack of a better term?
Our automatic meter reading levels, I think when I checked the other day, we're at about 95%.
95% of your meters are the automated meters? Is there any chance that you could be getting a deviation in your meter reads from the automated reading that's causing you the problem that you're looking at?
That's why I printed the consumption report by each individual meter that we have, 4,800, 5,300, I can't remember how many we have, and sorted it by each individual location, because I did want to see if there were a block of meters or a group of meters that looked like they may be having an issue, but that's not the trend that I saw. I saw, several hundred that were significantly below where they were through the 3 months of 2013. So in comparing the 2 years of water usage, like the hospital, St. John's River Community College, looks like they had cut off their irrigation meter, gone back to reused water. So, I mean, there were, our largest users, Sheriff's Office, all were using less water. So,
And most people complain that our water bill is high, and we got electronic meter readers that were supposed to help balance out those things. That was the spiel they gave us to get them in there anyway.
People are putting buckets over them, they can't drain.
You have anything else? Any other comments?
Well, I just want to share with Matt and I guess the community from a standpoint of one was at the training or what have you. We had a number of cities that were represented there, and none of them showed where most of the golf courses were profitable. So in that respect, irregardless of where rounds are up or down, I think we need to be a little bit more creative. And one of the individuals communicated that what they had done, they brought in soccer golf. They brought in soccer golf, and that brought a different kind of crowd. They just created some additional holes out there on the golf course, made them a little bit bigger, where they increased their revenue by 40%. So that would be an additional help in terms of the city taking on a major hit. I think we just need to be thinking a little bit more creative. So we just need to think around those lines.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan.
all right, thank you.
Moving to item number 6, citizens' request, Johnny M. Brown. Item A, compensation for electrical boxes on the side of E.W. Lawson and Sons Funeral Home. Item B, drainage work on 9th Street, State Road, Highway 20 to keep water out of funeral home. Mr. Brown.
Johnny Brown, 107 South 9th Street. First, I'd like to start with my advertisement. This is our 100th year in business in the city of Palatka. Follow us on Facebook, and you will get a daily update on what we're doing. Well, Mr. Mayor, I want to pull item A, compensation for electrical boxes. And for item B, I just want to know when the work's going to start. As you know, previous to your administration, we received a grant, and there was work that was outside, to be done outside of the grant. And I questioned the city manager and Jonathan several times on what happens if you don't take the grant, what about the work outside of the grant? They said it had nothing to do with the grant, and it's moving the water because water is running into our building. It's caused mold, it's caused deterioration inside of our building. Doesn't do any good to repair it. We repaired it a few years ago. Water keeps running in. So we came up with a plan that the city said they were going to go with a temporary drainage until FDOT will come in and fix 20. And I'd like to stop right there because and let the city manager comment on what he told me in the meeting because I was not clear on what their plans were.
Are you specifically
When you
referring to
guys told me
6B?
about- Yeah.
6B? Mr.
Six-
Griffith,
yeah.
Mr. Griffith is the one that's directly dealing with FDOT on that project, Mr. Brown?
We're speaking about the drainage project.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. We've had multiple meetings with Ms. Brown, and I've had multiple meetings with FDOT, different departments. One is the maintenance department out of St. Augustine, which we have talked to George Adamick and Connie Walker, and the other is Nelson Beatenbaugh and their engineer, which is ATM. They are working on the larger drainage project, which is in FDOT's work plan, the 5-year work plan. I have been speaking to George Adamick and Connie Walker about the city making some, as Mr. Brown put it, temporary fixes to keep the water away from the building. At the same time, we have been working with FDOT for the relocation of the utility box off of Mr. Brown's building into the public right-of-way. FDOT instructed the city that both of those projects needed to be applied for in the same permit application because the grading in their mind was incidental to the utility relocation box. And I'll leave it at that. It was under advisement from FDOT.
Is there anything we can do by way of mitigation at this point?
Yes, in my opinion, without actually getting out there with the transit and surveyor rod, you could go out there and you could basically raise the sidewalk very little to the elevation of the threshold, and then regrade the area in front of their property, which is the right-of-way, to promote the water to stay out onto the adjacent property. The problem is we're just kind of pushing the problem away. We can't solve the real problem. There's inadequate stormwater infrastructure on that corridor. But again, FDOT advised us to submit them under the same permit application.
Okay. Can we, and I asked the question is, can you give us a follow-up as to working towards a solution with Mr. Brown to kind of deal with that issue, I guess on a temporary basis, so that it's kind of dealt with? Or maybe give us a working plan as to where you guys are, or how has that been working thus far?
Yeah, I do have a solution. The problem is in FDOT's mind, it opens up a more complex fix. With what we were proposing, it's a minor grading exercise whereby we come in and we shave it down, we shave down the grade and bring it back to a positive drainage grade, and we put in new sidewalks. If we promote to just do a stormwater project, in their eyes, it's not incidental to the relocation of the box, and it requires us to do curb work, resetting of grades of pavement, and possibly even looking at installing stormwater inlets, which we don't have within our current budget. So there is a solution, but it would require a monetary solution as well.
Have you run any numbers on that?
No, sir, I have not.
It's a significant cost.
It would be, yes.
Can I comment?
We're willing to try anything.
Yes, sir.
The box is not a part of it. Moving the box doesn't stop water. The box is on the side and the box is well. And I understand what you're saying, but I got an email from them saying, "Good morning, Mr. Brown. My understanding is that we're still pursuing temporary drainage improvements from DOT. We're also pressing DOT to expedite the overall drainage and reconstruction. I will confirm with Jonathan as well. Thank you for keeping in touch." When we turn down the grant, this is the email I got. FDOT is working on the construction corridor. Once it's complete, the matter of the project is a matter of the project being funded. Plans for temporary work have been revised as they originally included the grant work. Once we turn down the grant, all negotiations with the city manager and Jonathan went away. And that's the email that says that it was a part of the grant. If you guys want to see it, you're welcome to see it. And then all of a sudden, after we turn down the grant, it's no longer in there.
May I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
I have kept my mouth shut because this started back, when they redid that road and we did ribbon cutting. Woody was here and I got him because at one time they gave me sandbags to put at the doors to keep water out. It is causing the floors in the building to need extra care. It's causing the walls and stuff to need extra care. And we've been trying to get them to do something about it. They built the road up over the sidewalk, so it automatically, all that water just drains in there. And it's deteriorating buildings. I haven't said anything because I said if I was once a part of it, but I want to let you all know that that property does no longer belong to me, it belongs to my children. And I think that pushing us along for that length of time with the stuff that has to, that needs to be done to stop water from coming into a business, somebody needs to do something about it. It's, then when we talked about it and looked at it, and they've come down, looked at it, and they put it at the top of the list, I think they go to the legislative delegation for them to ask for, and nobody's doing anything about it. And something needs to be done about it.
I also have another email that says that we got a contract that's waiting to do the work, but we can't do the work until we get the water stopped. They're gonna close off that one door so water can't go in there, and the city was supposed to put a sidewalk and around the side and something to help the support. And it's, once we turned down the grant, they got really nasty with me.
Mr. Griffith, can you give us, can you explore, how long would it take you to get to your temporary fix on this?
The temporary fix is basically in-kind labor because FDOT sees it as a grading exercise. To do curbing and stormwater infrastructure, we don't have the capability in-house, and I'm telling you that honestly, and that's my personal and professional assessment. I've seen our crews try and set storm inlets, and that we definitely can't do it on a state right of way.
So, will our temporary fix will at least curb the problem for now?
I believe so.
And what effect will it have on the FDOT project at all?
It won't have any effect on their current project. They're in engineering right now, and as Ms. Brown suggested, or inferred, they are trying to push that along. It is a priority to reconstruct the whole road, but they don't move on the most expeditious pace.
Can you give us a report within 2 weeks? Can you give us some type of where you are as far as a solution on this and report back by the 26th?
Yes, can you give me some clarification on what you'd like to see?
I want you to see what you can do to make the water go away.
Thank you.
Okay.
Also, have you had a civil engineer to actually take a look at it? And
We've had a few civils look at it with me that we had under contract at the time. That's when we had active projects. But right now, we don't have any active projects, so I'd be calling in a few favors. But I did go to school for grading exercises, so I should be able to give you an honest assessment.
and the reason I asked about civil engineering, they are proficient in stormwater drainage and those type of projects and whatnot. And I know we don't have one on staff, but I don't know whether we can get any pro bono work out of one. I don't know, but I think that would give you.
Even if you get the civil engineers pro bono work, they're gonna design something that's gonna cost close to $70,000 to $100,000 to fix. So it's a futile exercise. The problem is, to put it simply, that is the bottom of a watershed. And we just fixed some of the flooding, which is downstream, 2 blocks. But a lot of that flooding is coming from 4 or 5 blocks off the state right of way. So it's all flowing downhill to that point, and there's nowhere for it to go. That came from multiple discussions with one of our consulting services engineers.
Well, it wasn't there before they resurfaced the road, and they did not resurface that road properly. And that's one of the problems, that it causes that water to come there, settle there, and,
Well, we need to move the water.
Well, it sounds like there may be a conversation to be had with DOT as well at this point, but I think that I think we need to we need to do what we can do to make it go away.
I will bring back some alternatives in 2 weeks, yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, can I be involved in what they're doing?
You're the property owner. I hope you be involved.
I don't know.
Can you work with Mr. Brown and make this happen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And can you come back in 2 weeks and kind of give us an update as to where we are, or give it by email if so necessary?
I've made that promise. I hope I can deliver.
Yes, sir. With that being said, is there a motion to table this? Motion's made and there's a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Motion carries 4 to 5-0.
I made the motion.
He makes a motion, Commissioner Campbell makes a
But I
second.
need
Well, you participated in the discussion, so you can't abstain.
Well, actually, you can't participate. We learned that you can participate in the discussion and still abstain.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Them two can't.
So, on this issue, on the table, on the issue of tabling, we can't vote to table the issue because we haven't taken any action on it. So, motion carries by 4 to 5-0. Once action's taken, just have it noted that I'll be recusing myself along with Commissioner Brown. Moving on to item number 7. We're now going to move to public hearing. Item number 7, Planning Board recommendation to allow changes to electric signs in C2 and C3, PBG-1 zoning districts, Building and Zoning Administrative request, first reading.
An ordinance of the city of Palatka,